Hello, hello, beautiful people. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode on the Growth Project podcast. As y'all can tell, my name is Sherise Fierce, and I am forever your host. So I'm the creator and forever your host of the Growth Project podcast. So before we even start, just drop a heart in the chat if you're here, and drop a heart in the chat to just let me know that the sound is good, everything's working on my end before we bring up today's wonderful guest. So whoever is here, just drop a heart and like a thumbs up if everything is working in the chat. And for those of y'all on Instagram, hello Instagram. Happy to see y'all. We're streaming live on YouTube if you guys want to join us. So today we are doing our third edition of the Divine Feminine Discussions. And y'all know from the past two episodes, like I'm so excited for this episode because the last two episodes went so well. And like this episode is what this series is based on, literally divine femininity. So today, join me as we welcome my special guest, my co-host, the one and only at Love Scientist, Keisha the Love Scientist. How you doing, babe? You're muted.
What's going on, beautiful people? What's going on, beautiful? And I am doing well. How you doing today?
Doing well. Big day. For those of y'all who are joining me now, you might have noticed that I was on here earlier. So, two live streams in a day, and we actually made history today. Two live streams, but also it's officially 1 year of the Success with the Stars podcast that I started last year, June 15th, with Umi Genevieve. When I started like our very first live, we started it on Instagram, and then over time I merged and started bringing on other healers, astrologers, spiritual leaders like yourself. So it's beautiful. It's been a year. It doesn't seem like it, but it's just getting bigger and better. So just very happy for that. So yeah, just a little like congratulations on the brand.
Congratulations, boo. That's amazing. You feel good, right? You should feel good about that accomplishment.
Yes. Every accomplishment, we gotta celebrate ourselves. Hey Jeannie, thank you for being here, boo. Thank you. So today we are discussing, by the title, y'all could see we're gonna be talking all about female friendships today. So last week we delved into dating as spiritual women. So now we're gonna talk about friendships as spiritual women. I'm talking about being authentic on our path, and also about femininity. Like I said, this is the topic that the discussion was based on. What is divine feminine energy? What is femininity? What is dark femininity? And then we're also going to be talking about choosing the path of the light worker and duality when it comes to spirituality, because there is a lot that when you're in this space and you want to be a leader in this space, a lot of people get tripped up on how they need to act, how they have to be, what's okay for them to share. Like, is it okay to still shake your ass? Is it okay to still curse while being a spiritual being? And we're gonna dive into it all today, especially when it comes to our experiences and our perspectives on that. So let's get started right away, Keisha. So let's talk about, I think we're going to start with what I just said, the duality of being a light worker and our spiritual journey. So we touched on it in the first two episodes, but remind us again, just like, when your spiritual journey kind of like really, the awakening happened for you. And then how have you navigated duality since then?
Okay. So the way that my spiritual journey kicked off was back when my mom passed away in 2017. I feel like but I feel like I had because life is rebirths and deaths. I feel like I went through it a couple of times. I think it's fair to say that. So in the beginning, I realized I was hurting people because people hurt me. So hurt people hurt people. People hurt me, I hurted them, and then the cycle repeats itself, and then you got another person hurting, and then it just continues, right? I sat back one time and I'm like, yo, what you did was effed up. Like, I was looking at some of the actions that I did. I'm like, that's messed up, Keish. Like, why you do that? Like, you knew better. And I had, again, that self awareness, having those hard conversations with myself and not lying to myself and being authentic. And it made me realize that, and then I even pushed it a step further. I apologized to the people that I recognized that I hurt. And I thought I didn't do that for them. Like, whatever their reaction was, is granted, it was given. Like, I respected it. But me as a woman and standing in my authenticity, excuse me, authenticity, that was a big driver. Like, apologizing and at least offering, um to ask for forgiveness. That was because I was very prideful. So to even do that, I bigged up myself for that, because I don't think a lot of people admit when they're wrong. And I don't think, and then I think it takes a lot to admit that you're wrong and go actually talk to that person that you hurt, and explain to them, like, that's not who you are. And they might not believe what you're saying, but at least you're doing it to close out any any bad karma that you feel that you're doing to yourself. And I was hurting people. I was hurting people. So I apologize. So that was my first step of, I want to say, first phase of spiritual awakening. My second phase was losing my mom, and then realizing, I feel like that was when the real test was. It was like, okay, this person's not your friend. That person's not your friend. Why you got people around you that don't care about you? Why do you have people around you that, when you see their true behavior, you don't believe it? You act like they don't mean that. That's them. You should believe that. That's their true character. Getting tested with friendships, because again, losing a parent is hard. Like, going through that is hard. So a support system is needed. And if your friends is dropping like flies, it's like, damn, I feel lonely as hell. And there was many times that I felt lonely. But I think also, when your back is against the wall, the only way to get out of that is to go within. So you're not it's that's why spirituality is so key, because I feel like a lot of the journey is in solitude. People see the People see you radiate and vibrating high, but they don't know the times that you cried, how many sleepless nights that you had, how many times you was like, yo, I'm tired of being the strong friend, or I'm tired of being there for people and nobody's there for me. I know this could go long. Stop me, sis. Stop me. What was the second part of the question? I can't hear you, bro.
No, it was just, how do you navigate just the duality? So I guess, like, I could follow up with, how do you navigate the duality between, like, your spirituality, your spiritual practices, and also just, like, everyday life?
Mm, that's a great question. Um, I make certain that my spiritual practices are embedded in my routine. So, like, and I've noticed that when I'm more intentional about my spiritual practices, life feels so much greater. For instance, like, I will there's some Bible scriptures that I'll say before I go outside or before I start my day. And that helps me. Like, that something's it to me is like affirmations in a way. And me speaking and praying to the divine and trusting that my day is going to I'm gonna have a wonderful day. I'm gonna have the best day regardless. And setting that, being intentional and having that mindset. Um so duality from me is just, in the spiritual sense, is making sure And then also going to my altar, like spending time with my ancestors, like being intentional about the things that, and being appreciative of the protection that we get, being appreciative of the divine guidance that we're given, because everybody don't have, like, everybody has a different gift, right? So I'm thankful for my gifts and then showing gratitude to that. So I feel like being intentional and showing gratitude, because gratitude plays a huge part in my spiritual practice. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for the divine, like divine, and then everything else. Like, so I make sure, and I know, like, that I feel like so many people take it for granted that, okay, my life is amazing, it's gonna stay this way. No, I've seen, like, the rug drawn from under people so quick. Gratitude is always going to be number one. So it's just navigating through finding out what your spiritual practices are. What does that mean for you? Because again, I didn't know this. This is stuff that I learned throughout my journey. And I feel like when you're in tuned and you pay attention to the signs and synchronicities, that you'll be given the blueprint. You don't got to figure that out. But I'm interested to know how your spiritual awakening started and your perspective on duality.
Somebody like a friend or absolutely. Just sending someone the link. So for me, I right away experienced, well, when you awaken, you've always experienced duality, but once you go through your spiritual awakening, then you really see duality and you're like, whoa, which side am I supposed to be? So one of the first things that really came up for me is just like when I just like came out online and everything like that, and I was talking, I was just like meditating and stuff like that. Something just so small and stupid. It was just be like, sometimes I post stories. And I like music. I like rap music. I like trap music. I like all types of music. I like alternative music. I like pop music. And for a while, I felt like I couldn't put certain music on my post. I couldn't put certain, like, I am a big like, I don't know, like, everything I put out is like, it's big. It's like big Beyonce. So
Yeah.
it's just like I just make it feel like that. Like I'm really into that. So, there was like things like Drake or J. Cole or just like music that will like get people going. But I was like, oh, I can't really caption it with that because like it's, or I can't put it. And I was like, why would I restrict myself from that? Like it's just creativity. But those little things like that, like, should I still be listening to this music? Should I still be eating these foods? And it just was like, I think like sometimes when you awaken, you can either go like all the way like left, where you're like, I'm not gonna eat this anymore. I'm not going to put like this in my body anymore. I'm not going to consume this type of TV anymore. Like Netflix, forget Netflix. Like I'm just gonna meditate, connect with the divine, journal, and like that's it. So that was it for me, where I was like, I went that like a little bit that crazy down the rabbit hole, just researching, just doing that thing. Now I feel like I have a more balanced expression and like balanced way of living with duality. So how I navigate duality now, like something you said, is like making sure spiritual practices is just part of your day, like whether it become meditating in the morning for me, going outside for a walk. And it was also coming to the understanding that anything can be spiritual if you make it and if you put intention with it. Whereas before I was just like, I need to meditate, I need to journal, I need to do like Reiki, I need to do this specific work. But just now, just doing a morning walk and just like walking by nature and just observing and like taking in everything, for me is spiritual now. So it was more like understanding that, like, yes, we live in a dual world, but sometimes we can exist in the middle. And also it was just like, I can make things spiritual. I can make my daily life spiritual. It doesn't have to look a certain way for it to be spiritual. I don't have to be doing tantra and raising my kundalini. Like I literally just, set some intention in my water. take a walk, and it's just about the energy that I embody and the intentions that I set. So that was a big one for me. But the reason why I asked that question, like I said earlier, is because a lot of people actually get tripped up on the spiritual journey, especially like as leaders. We were talking about it a little bit earlier in the forecast this that I did with Umi Genevieve today, where she's like, I love astrology. This is my gift, but like, I'm also just like a trill ass bitch. Like, I like certain things. Like, and she's like, sometimes it's weird for me to even just like show certain things on my story because like people will see me in this like way, right? They like put you on a pedestal when you're just a divine being, just, going through life, right? And they put you on a pedestal like, you doing this, you doing that, or you partake in that, or you shared that. Like, you're supposed to be above that, right? You're not supposed to share those type of memes, not supposed to be looking at shade room, not supposed. So I feel like they very much like, and it's not us do it, not all the time. Some people do. People get an ego when it comes to spirituality, but for the most part, I feel like it's people that put you in a box and they put you on some sort of pedestal, and then it's like, oh, you do that too? Like, aren't you spiritual? And it's like, wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? Have you ever gotten that before?
I've gotten, oh, do you still believe in God? Because you say you're spiritual. And I'm like, wait, what? I always talk about God. Even on my page, I talk about God. So the fact that you think I'm not spiritual, I mean, I don't believe in God because I'm spiritual is wild to me. I'm just not religious. And hold on. And what else?
Very
You
good
you
question.
said so much. You said so much in that. It was so heavy. Also having the steps and being rigid with my routine because there we go. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I just want to do this. Being rigid, like it has to look like this. Like, oh, I have to sage every Sunday because I'm cleaning up. Like what the? And then I had to take a step back. Like, who made this up? Like, I don't gotta do nothing that I don't feel like doing. That's first and foremost. Second, whatever my spiritual journey looks like, that's private. That's mine. That's sacred, whatever I want to do. And nobody could tell me, nobody on the internet could tell me what that looks like because I'm so connected to the divine. Like me and the divine like this. He or she talks to me all the time, right? And I think I what else did you say? You said the routine. Oh, even with the diet too. I was like, oh, I'm a pescatarian. I don't eat this. I don't eat that. Until I was hungry all the freaking time. I'm like, hey yo, I don't think I'm supposed to be feeling like this. I'm hungry. I'm hangry all the time. Nah, I wasn't this hangry when I was eating meat. And then the hood healer brought up a good point of looking up your blood type. And I'm like, I know I'm an O positive. Okay. And then I started looking up what I'm supposed to eat. I'm supposed to have meat. I'm like the carnivore. Like I'm supposed to have red meat, lamb. So I started incorporating that into my diet and I feel way better overall. Like my energy levels are high. I'm like, there has to be a reason why. I'm like, I don't think you just automatically say, all right, I'm spiritual. I'm going to be vegan now. That don't work for everybody. First off, are you replenishing your body with the vitamins that you need properly? Like you can't just you could put your body in shock. There's so many things that could go wrong from you just making the wrong choice about your diet and you like nutrition, gut health matters. There's so many different layers that go into that. And so for people to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be vegan because we're not supposed to eat meat. There's so many toxins and hormones in the meat. I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm also saying that you just got to be a little smarter about it, right? So organic, make sure y'all read the labels. Do you know how many there's so many labels right now that say this product was made with ingredients that are bioengineered. So be careful. Matter of fact, I saw that in Aldi. And I'm reading, it was like some tortilla wraps and something else that I bought. but I'm always reading the label because that normally that's where they hide most of this stuff. They're gonna get smarter and probably not include it after a while. But when I read that label, I was like, I'm not eating no bioengineered, and I know this. Like, it's better if I don't know it. So I think so. Back to what we were talking about, but the diet, making decisions just based off what's trendy and what's popular. I think we have to be careful of that along our spiritual journey. Um, and there was something else I wanted to mention. The light and dark. It's literally for Jeannie said, my relationship with my spirituality is literally for me anyway, not other people. Exactly. That's private for you. That's why I named my book Imperfect Self Love, because your self love journey is private, sacred to you. Spirituality, same thing. Health, all that. Finances, all that. Like, all that is sacred to you. Just being intentional about it. That was another thing that you said. Being intentional about everything that you do as a spiritual, like what you consider as a spiritual practice, and being intentional about it, like praying over your water. Like, I used to think it had to be this grand scheme of things, and I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. First off, I'm not gonna do it if it's so much things I gotta do to do it. Like, that's not happening. Like, I'm not doing that. But that
Facts.
go ahead, what'd you say?
No, I said facts. Like, if there's too much to do, nah.
It's a no for me.
Okay. But I definitely agree with so much that you just said. And like I said, I always encourage people, like, yes, try to at least find the balance wherever it is, because I feel like where you go too far left, sometimes you swing back all the way to the right, and then afterwards we have people who say, like, I left that community because blah blah blah, and then, like, I don't know, this happened and weird experiences, and I'm like, because you went too far left. You had no anchor, you had no grounding, and you just, so I always try to find some sort of grounding. Yes, is certain things good to eat? It's still debatable.
Mm-hmm.
um, but just try to live as best and as clean and as aligned to yourself as you can. And I feel like Jeannie said, like, it's all about your relationship to yourself, which is like spirituality. It's about your relationship to yourself, to your spirituality, and also to God, right? It's your relationship. So I think that's one of the biggest thing that defines spirituality.
It's personal to you.
Exactly. So, let's talk about community and support, and, like, get into the topics of just relationships in our community. So, how have you found the spiritual community? Have you found, like, you can be yourself here? Have you found a community as a light worker? Do you identify as a light worker? And if so, like, how did that come up? But, like, more about the community, like, have you how are you feeling in the spiritual community?
That is a heavy and hot topic. Okay. I have a lot of mixed feelings about the spiritual community. I feel like there's a whole lot of frauds. Unpopular opinion. I feel like there's a whole lot of frauds, and I feel like it is trendy to some folks. I feel like their heart is not clean. I feel like there's a lot of warlocks. So with that duality, that light, there also comes that dark. That dark is going to be attracted to that light. They're going to, like, be chameleons. They're going to be wolves in sheep's clothing, just so that they could blend in. But they don't mean well. They could derail you from your spirituality. They could really fuck some shit up, right? And we got to be careful of that, especially in this space, because number one, like, there's certain things that I see that I don't agree with. If you don't know me from a can of paint, there is no reason for you to DM me telling me about my life. I didn't give you permission. I did not give you permission to read me. What the hell are you doing? There's ethics involved with reading people. You don't just read somebody. That's invasion of their privacy. That's invasion of their energy. That is wrong. So all the people that get scammed, I'm like, Like, I feel bad for you, but I, I also think that people put too much trust into other people versus learning more about yourself. And so I've seen the good and the bad with the spiritual community. I've seen people go live. I've seen women go live. Let's talk about it. I've seen women go live talking about they praying, they meditating, they care about our sisters, and they have all these platforms and this, that, and the third. And they out here being conniving little, and I don't even gotta finish that because I don't want to say too many curse words in this episode. But it's just being careful about who you surround yourself with. And I feel like the more in tune you are with yourself, you're gonna recognize the fake. You're gonna recognize the frauds. And because sometimes it's just intuition. If you feel it, it don't. I've learned in my journey that I always wanted to, like, I had to see it. I had to see the proof. I had to see the receipts. And when what you mess up with that is that you don't truly believe in your intuition. Like, soon as you feel something, if you're in tuned, soon as you feel something, then you already know what time it is. You, like, women know when they man cheating. Like, you feel it. You just know. We act like we don't know, or we turn our blind eye. But I've seen so much within this community. And then even going back to our episode last week, even the men just being attracted to the divine femininity. I mean, I don't blame them, but still, get out the way. Like, you not here with good intent. So navigating through those difficult frauds from the I think that's the difficulty, is like navigating through those the frauds. But on the plus side, meeting so many beautiful people. Like, I feel like I've met people, like I met strangers that, like, I really love. Like, and that connection feels like you feel it. You like, yeah, that's my person. Like, I like her. Like, she's dope. Or I can't wait to keep working with her. Even you, like, I've met so many great people. Like, I feel so rich from that. So yes, we have again, it's duality, right? We're gonna have the test. And I also feel like one of my main tests here is if I truly love myself. Cause I feel like that's a constant test for me. Like, you gonna choose them, or are you gonna choose you? And because of that, I always gotta choose me. But I know that. So I'm always gonna navigate and make sure that I feel 100% comfortable, that I feel happy. Like, and if my intuition says anything but that, nah, I don't have to, I don't have to see another sign, and I don't have to say yeah, I don't have to I don't have to see another sign to believe it. I don't have to see receipts to believe it. What about you?
So for me, I felt I feel like it's been a journey, and something that I'm really big on is just like demystifying a lot of things so that more people can access it and understand it. And um, I feel like, especially when I came into the spiritual community, I was just like, my people, finally, other people, other weirdos, yay. But then you navigate it, and then you find that, like, they're they're people like everyone else. And like you said, there's gonna be frauds, there's gonna be scammers, there's gonna be people with egos and narcissists. They're gonna be like love and light, but not really, right? So
Mm-hmm.
same, like, I don't want to say same thing, different story, but just what I have found in the community though is a people committed to being authentic, which is something that I really appreciate. As much as like, people who are committed to being authentic, in integrity, and growing,
Mm-hmm.
and taking accountability for their shit. when I find people, well, I do see that a lot in our community. I do, I'll be the negative side. I do very much see that in our community, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the work that everyone is doing to kind of like hold this, deeper, like I don't like to say higher vibration, because sometimes when you say higher vibration, it's like people feel like it means that you're like putting yourself again on this pedestal, but this deeper vibration of what earth could be if we
Mm-hmm.
all kind of like tapped into love, and if we all tapped into what like our purpose and why we're here. So I would say, because I'm a dreamer, but I'm also a realist. So when I come into here, I just see people for who they are. I never put them on a pedestal, and I feel like that's why I'm able to see who I'm dealing with and just see the person for a human being. And all the people that I've worked with a lot of healers and spiritual leaders, and they've always said that, and they're like, it's refreshing. Being like with someone who just sees them as a person and as a
Mm-hmm.
whole being holistically, and not just this one person of one factor of themselves. So that, yes. Have I found something that I did notice me when I came in? I was like, where is the collaboration at? Like,
Yeah.
where? So that's a big thing, and that's what fueled my mission with like just creating this podcast, bringing people on the podcast, because I was like, I love all of you, right? I love this astrologer over here. I love this tarot reader over here. I love all of this. Like, and y'all are all doing great shit. Like, why are you? Where are the collaborations at? Like, I want to see y'all talking to each other, right? Because you have so much wisdom, and you've built such a platform for yourself. Like, I want to see you speaking with other healers and other spiritual leaders and other. Like, I was like, where is the collaboration in the industry, if we could call it that? There's the community and also in the industry. So that's why I went on this big campaign of just like bringing a lot of bunch of people and like making connections, because I feel like it could get a little touchy where people are like, because spirituality is so personal, it
Mm-hmm.
may feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to like collab with people or talk with other people, because what if they say something I don't agree with or whatever, or like, your experience is invalidating my experience or whatever. But that's something that I didn't notice, especially when it comes to service providers in the industry. I was like, where is the collabs? Like, where is the collaboration? I want to see y'all talking to each other. I want to see deep conversations. I want to see high level conversations. I want to see that, and I want to see, more than like a comment under a post. Like, I really want to see like real support. Like, I want to see you bigging up another person, supporting them, like, and I felt like that's something that I saw lacked. Now I'm seeing a little bit more of it, but when I came into the space, I felt like, you had your big dogs, you had your little middle dogs, and
Mm-hmm.
then like everybody was like in their corner just doing their thing. And I'm talking more about the people who had a platform. Dude, everybody's like occupying their space on the internet is what I found. And I just remember just having this urge to be like, I wish like we had more spaces with many of you, right? So it's not like, I gotta come over here, I gotta come over here, I gotta come. It's like, I would love to see y'all all on a panel. I'd love to see y'all all in a thing and like bring that deep wisdom when someone's talking and you're picking it up and you're giving like, so, that would be so beautiful. So if I don't see it, y'all know me, I'm gonna try to create it. I'll try to. So if we don't got a spiritual panel by next year, we gonna have to figure something out over here. But other than that, like I said, I just want to see more collaboration and more joining of communities, because the people need it. Like, the people need it, and I feel like they would benefit highly from being in spaces with leaders in this way.
I totally agree with you. And that is something I also lacked, noticed there was a lack of as well. The collaboration part. It's like, oh, you're in the same industry as me, so you're competition. Like, I'm not gonna like your post. I'm not gonna Yeah, I'm not gonna like your post. I'm not gonna support you. I can't put your content up because it conflicts with mine. But it's not even. It shouldn't be like that. We could win so much if we just came together. We could change the Earth's frequency. Like listen to how that sounds. We could change the Earth's frequency if we all came together as healers. Like how dope is that? And yeah, I'm all for it. Make sure you do that collaboration of it. Make sure you do that panel because I it's more so for the people. It's they would definitely benefit. There would be so much transformation just by facilitating that conversation, holding space for that.
Yep.
I'm all for it.
I just want to say shout out to Instagram. I see y'all and I see y'all comments. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. They're like, yes, thank you for being here. Thank y'all being here. And
Yes.
if you guys want to join us over on YouTube, join us over on YouTube so we can read your comments and like, chat a little bit. So we're probably gonna circle back here. No biggie. But let's get into the divine femininity. Cause we're coming up on 30 minutes. So let's get into the divine feminine. I'm gonna start just with a simple question asking you, what is divine feminine energy for you? And like what does it mean to embody divine feminine energy in your humble experience?
Okay, divine feminine energy is also a cross between dark feminine energy for me. And when I say that, what I mean is showing up in my power, showing up in my as my highest self, um, looking good, feeling good. My energy's up there. I done meditated, right? I done went through the cosmos, and dancing. Like for me, for me, the divine femininity, moving your hips, like that movement of your body, even if it's like in a even in a sensual way, is so powerful. I was actually listening to a episode yesterday, and they were talking about sexual energy and how women should tap into that. So I'm listening to the episode, and they talked about how certain fruits, touch the sacral chakra, and how the yoni is like they when they broke it down. I'm like, the yoni does give birth. It gives birth. And how the yoni could be used to heal people, how you can just envision your yoni healing people. My mind was blown. So for divine femininity is just being that bad ass that you are and not giving no like and standing on
You
business.
could curse. Why
Huh?
are you I said you could curse on here. Like you could curse on here. There's literally look the thumbs up. Like there's no don't censor yourself. No.
Thank you, boo. Thank you, Sherise. Um, and not giving no fucks. There we go. Not giving no fucks like that, right? And for instance, my divine feminine energy, I know when it's different. Like I know when I'm coming in hot. So for me, my and I don't even like the word bitch, right? But my divine feminine energy is I'm a bougie bitch. I like fancy shit. So when you hear that, that's the energy I'm coming with. And for women, I think it's so important to find out what that energy looks like for you. What makes you feel empowered? What makes you feel the sexiest? What makes you talk talk your shit? Like what does that look like for you? And not being scared to explore your sexual energy. I'm not saying going out there, having sex with people out there. I'm not saying that. You could even explore your sex because we don't talk about that enough either. You could also explore your sexual energy um by yourself, like self pleasure. Like that there's so many different ways that you can and then the more you tap into that, because I've met women that never had an orgasm. Like like these are real issues. And I also think the balancing of the chakras plays an important role in divine feminine energy. And I'm trying to remember, when did I actually explore, what's up, bro? When did I actually explore my divine feminine energy? And I want to say, as I elevated, because before I wasn't having divine feminine talks. I didn't even know what the divine feminine was. But now, like, what? Divine feminine to me is I'm her. Okay, nobody's gonna tell me nothing else. No, nobody's gonna tell me anything else. Like, and then there's so many layers to it. I'm so comfortable in who I am that I could give you your flowers. I could tell a woman, "Oh, you look dope as hell. You look fly, baby." Like, I could get, like, there's no animosity, there's no resentment. So I don't. So divine feminine. There's so many. It goes into so many different facets of your life. Um it's not just for relationships. And then also the divine feminine, men also have to understand that they have divine feminine in them too. So it's okay to be soft. It's okay to be, I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say that. It's okay to be vulnerable, be expressive. Like, that's okay for a man to tap into. It's important for him to tap into, and for that duality aspect to be balanced. Because just like you have the divine feminine, you have the divine masculine. You over there working? I see you.
Yeah, I'm responding to comments, doing all the things, but I listen. I'm ADHD. So if I'm staring at you, I'm not listening to you. But if my eyes are like everywhere, I'm listening to you. Because I have like 3 platforms open, so I'm just making sure everybody's good. But I asked in the chat, what is divine feminine energy for you, or just in general, what's feminine energy for you? So I want everyone to comment down below what feminine energy is for them. I have Moon Romancer here on Instagram saying feminine energy for me is creation. I really love that one.
I
Let us know. Let us know what's divine feminine energy, or just what's feminine energy for you. There's a couple points that you talked about that I feel is really good. You talked about, like, I'm showing up as her. It's just like me embracing all of me, being badass. And I agree. I 100% agree with you. Even the fact that, like, men have feminine energy. I think men don't want to say, "Hey, I have feminine energy." So I think that's like a hard one for them to swallow. I think it's just the wording, right? But like, how I like to encourage people and just even explain it to men is just that, like, we all have, I like to take the concepts of yin and yang, right? Because, sometimes the word feminine just be turning them off.
They're not even listening to you at that point. You say feminine.
They're like, ain't nothing feminine about me. You're like, I lost you already, right? So I like to use the concepts of yin and yang when it comes to feminine and masculine. And just, because especially these days, there's just like so much information about the feminine. And I think the reason why there is so much, and like there's a surplus of information, is because we went so long, especially in the Western world, without exploring femininity. We live in a patriarchal society, and we live in a very, just like more, just patriarchy. So God is a man, we worship a him, a he. So because of all of those things, the feminine journey and the feminine cycles and the feminine energy has been like put on a back burner. So we haven't had a lot of that information. I feel like a certain cultures still do. Like, I feel like in the Indian Hindi type of culture, since they have goddesses and stuff, they tend to still have that connection to divine feminine, where I feel like it's just mostly us in the West that have really lost that connection. But when it comes to me, I like to explain it in yin and yang terms, and just having a feminine energy just be the feminine being just a more receptive force, a void. I like to think of it as where, like, let's say the sun was just to illuminate everything. Feminine energy would be the darkness that was before the sun was like even illuminated. This is the void, right? It's where creativity happens. It's where creation happens. When we think of when a child is born, yeah, like they grow in darkness, right? They don't grow in sunlight. They grow within a womb. They grow within darkness. And so I feel like it's this very receptive principle. It is this void. It's sometimes hard to explain. That's why we have trouble explaining it, because where masculine energy is more doing, and it's more outright, and it's more outward projecting. Feminine the femininity is more inward. It's more, like I said, flowy, void. So, how do we explain a void? It's kind of hard, right? So that's like why I feel like even with spirituality, every woman has to define femininity for themselves, and not let a TikTok coach or just anyone out there really define femininity for you. It has nothing to do with the way you dress. It has nothing to do with anything like that. Um, it's about an essence, and it's about under like turning inward and understanding the power that you hold, the same way the masculine has power, the same way the feminine has power. And it's going within yourself and finding the ways that that your femininity affects things without you projecting, without you doing. So, it could just literally be your energy, your presence. Like you're in a room and people instantly feel warmer. They instantly feel like they can be themselves, they can show up, or the fact that people feel like you're nurturing, or any of those things can be feminine without you like doing. So let me just see what y'all saying. I know I've been talking a little bit. Divine Goddess on Instagram said feminine energy is being in consistent collaboration with your intuition to fulfill creation. I love that. Being in consistent collaboration with your intuition. A mouthful, but very beautifully said. Peace, wholeness within, and unconditional love, a controlled maintenance and expression of self-love. I love, love, love everything that you guys are saying. I think that's so beautiful. I love the wholeness as well. I do believe that feminine is whole. I do believe, like I said, a void, right? You can separate a void. Like if we were talking about space or a black hole, like there's no separation. It is whole. And I love that version of it, because as women, I think a lot of times we seek our counterpart. We seek our other half. But I feel like we need to enter an age where we're whole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's two wholes that come together. Two whole counterparts come together and complement each other. And duality for sure.
Keep talking. I just be putting these up,
I'm like, I want to see what they say too.
But you should be able to. You don't see the comments when they come in?
Oh, I had the full screen up. Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
Let me exit. Here we go. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. There we go. I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about being whole.
Yeah. So yes, being whole, and then understanding what you truly like before you come together with your counterpart or your divine partner. I feel like but again, we a lot of us do it. We go from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship. I've done it before I knew who I was, and instead it's like a roller coaster of just chasing your tail, because you're not taking the time out to heal yourself. You're not taking the time out to find out what you like, who you are, how you want to show up in the world. And then there was another point that you brought up too. Like, it's like, don't get twisted on the words, but big dick energy and big pum pum energy. I feel like that also could describe the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Like, when somebody walk into a room, how they just captivate that room. that I think that's showing up in your highest self, being so confident and authentic that it seeps through and everybody could pick it up. Um, and yeah, I think
I
those
love
were.
that. I'm writing that down. Big pum pum energy. Put big pum pum energy in the chat. Put big pum put cat in the chat if you have big pum pum energy. I love that. I love that.
Thank
Um
you.
but so especially with some of the things that I was talking about was about femininity in general, but I think when you add a divine to it is when you, like you said, you take control of that or you own that. So there's feminine energy, but that divine feminine is when you own that energy. You know, you own that shit about yourself. So absolutely agree. Big poom poom energy. I'm forever using that from now on. I'm stealing it. So if you see it on the page, like, you know where it happened. Y'all heard it here first.
Yes, remember who said it first, though. Remember who said it first.
Someone said, "Does this apply to men?" Absolutely does. On Instagram,
Oh,
absolutely this applies to men. If you're on your phone, if you want to like
oh
feel
yeah,
part of Instagram, you can go
yeah.
on your phone. You can find me on Instagram and just keep it up, and you'll see all of the comments there. Does this apply to men? Well, let me ask them that question with a comment from a man. So the writer 86 says, apparently, I'm very in touch with my feminine side because a lot of these definitions you ladies are giving are talking about me. So
Mm.
I guess yes, it means like it applies to men. And right at 86, if you're still here, can you talk to us about how you balance your masculine energy and your feminine energy, your yin and your yang? How do you use your feminine energy? I would be super curious to hear that, especially from a guy. And thank you for tuning in. We have a guy. Thank you. Thank you. And we have another guy on Instagram.
Yes,
I'm loving
we have
this.
men in the room.
We have men in the room. I love it. I love it. So, yes, divine feminine, and something you talked about is that sacral energy, right? That sacral chakra. And as women, sacral chakra is huge for everyone. But throughout my studies, they also put energy on the chakra. So root, masculine, sacral, feminine, solar, masculine, heart, feminine, throat, and then feminine, and then we could say ambiguous or both because the crown all whole, right? Once you're there, it's all whole. So the sacral is actually we could say a feminine or the sacral energy is more receptive, whereas the root energy is more projected. So I believe sacral energy is so important if you want to be in your divine feminine energy, and that's something that I had to tap into. I had a lot of kind of like hidden, subtle sexuality. And I never really owned it. I've always just been like, I want to play around with it. We talked about it, like just being Caribbean, where our culture is either you're literally on two ends of the spectrum. There's like no in between. You're either hyper fucking sexual, hypersexual, so just like wild, or we say loose, right? Or
Mhm.
you're fucking just modest, conservative,
Yeah.
church, like barely in between, right? Barely in between. So I feel like we don't have a it's not that we don't have. I feel like now very much so we're exploring it more, but some people still see it as you have no shame.
Mm.
You're being loose, right? But especially in cultures like Caribbean culture, Latina culture, there's like this huge hypersexualization as well in those cultures, and I feel like that can hurt divine feminine energy as well. So I forgot where I was going with that, but I was talking about the sacral. Yes, the sacral. The sacral is important for women who want to own their divine femininity. And like I said, I had to tap into that because I was like, oh, I don't want to come off as loose. I don't want to come off as that because sometimes you see how women who act like that are sometimes treated by society, right? So I'm like, okay, shit, I don't want to be over there. But then I never felt great, like sitting with the girls with the, you know, the turtleneck all up here. Like I'm like, you know, I like to show a little cleavage, you know, I like to show a little
Mhm.
legs. I
Yeah.
like I like to enjoy myself, but I always felt like I had to, like it was wrong for me to want to feel good and feel sexy and feel really like juicy within myself. I always felt like that was wrong. And I think a lot of it came from, you know, like I said, just growing up in spaces where sex was just so shamed and a
Mhm.
woman's sexuality was so shamed. Like as a young girl growing up in the Caribbean, there was just like no sex talk, like none of that. It's just like don't get pregnant, don't do, like, you know what I mean? So because of that type of rhetoric that is thrown on us, and you know, for good reason, but it's just that we're never really explained why, it hurts sometimes. It hurts our expression of our true power and of our sexuality. And I was never really able to really own that until I felt like I started awakening. I came with more into myself. I started studying these things. And I'm like, you know what? Me feeling good about myself is actually a gift to everyone else. It's a gift to the world. Me walking as a freaking, like if I'm a goddess, which I am, but like me showing up like this is literally a gift to every single person who gets to encounter me that day. Like literally,
I feel
right?
the same way,
And
sis.
once I started getting into that, I was like, there's nothing shameful about enjoying yourself, decorating yourself, adorning yourself. And this is huge for me because like I didn't wear makeup before a certain age. I didn't, like, I really was, you know, felt like I shouldn't play things up. I shouldn't, I should just, so it was a huge, like, this journey was really huge for me to just really be able to accept myself and to really own my power and sexuality. So talk to me a little bit about your journey with that. Have you always been like vivacious and like, here I am? Or like, is that something that you came into? Because I'm like very shy. So that this is like huge that I'm like here now. But talk to me about your journey.
Oh, I went through a lot of different turning points. Again, big up to my mom. She would speak so much. So I've always been this way. I think the world is just now seeing big pum pum energy. Now the world is seeing big pum pum energy. So like people who know me, they don't really know this side because I didn't have a reason to, like, nobody, like, who would know this if I wasn't like involved with you, right? But now I'm at the point where this is me. I'm a goddess, and again, I'm a gift. I'm a gift from God. So when I'm in your presence, first off, I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna smell good, because we're gonna talk about like how there's certain oils that you could wear to take your divine feminine energy to higher levels. And so I'm gonna show up as I'm her energy. So I'm already like, that's a given. So that big pum pum energy is I'm walking through with that. And I feel like as I get on my spirit, as I go through my spiritual journey even more, like I used to think like wearing shades out inside was corny, until now. I'm the one that's doing that. I'm doing that. Why? Because I don't care, because I want to. That's what I want to do. First off, when I dance, I don't like people like looking at me. Like I'm extroverted, but I'm also shy. So I can dance, but if I see too many people, like I've seen people like just stare at me, it can kind of make me nervous, and I don't want to see that. When I'm dancing, I'm in my own zone. So I had this thing where I was not little. I don't want to say little. That sounds wild. But back in the day, my mother would like encourage me. So I used to dance so nasty in her presence, because growing up listening to the dance hall, the reggae. So, and my mom, she killed it dancing too. So I'd be like I would be so freaking sexual, and she would egg me on like, yeah, go ahead, Keisha, go ahead, Keisha. So that made me so confident. And I also remember when she passed, like I could have sworn I heard her It was I was in the I was in a restroom and in New York City, and then they had like a mirror right there, and I could see everything. So I remember just looking at myself and I'm like, I feel like she said to me like, "You sexy as hell. You better go out there and fuck shit up." And that's exactly what I did. So I feel like it's always been embedded in me. But now, shoot. But I also been like the little prude too. Like I remember at one time I put on Instagram, I had like a bathing suit, like a thong bathing suit, and I'm like, yes, this is going out because I've always been that way. But people don't know me for that. So I feel like if I do it now, they're like, oh, she's seeking attention. But that's always been me. Period. So I did that, and the amount of comments that made me feel like, oh my god, I need to take this down. Like I shouldn't be like this. Like Keisha, why you do that? And then now that I'm thinking about it, like shit, do that shit. So
No, like for real.
to answer your question, yes. I think it's worse now because I'm in my bag. I think it's worse. I think, and then there was another part that I wanted to comment because this conversation is so good. Is the sexual energy. Matter of fact, I took notes. Here we go. Healers, I feel like healers, we have so much sexual energy, and it's not it. I feel like you have to understand how to use that power, right? And so like I think a lot has to do with it. Like you can be hypersexual because how are you releasing that energy? I one way is through creation. Like when I go ham on Instagram or go ham on all those social media platforms, that's me like, yes, I got all this energy, I gotta put it out. But I also think there's a thin line between because we have so much sexual energy, you gotta be careful. Cause like sometimes I'd be like, I wish I could have, I wish I could have sex. I gotta let this out. So I think
feel you.
that's a gift and a curse. What you say, boo?
No, I said I feel you.
I need to pounce on something. Again, that big pum pum energy. I think that's gonna be the saying for the love. Big pum pum energy. And there was a
And
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. No, I was just saying that for even for men, because you just brought up creative energy, and we talked earlier how like can this apply to men?
Mm-hmm.
When you're creating whatever it is, you're utilizing feminine energy. You're utilizing the yin. You're utilizing not only your brawn or your hand or your force, but your imagination, the intuition to like put something here, build something here, put this and this. Like you're using that as well. So I just wanted to bring that back because I'm just trying to bring the men in.
No, they here. I was about to tell you. So we men experience this also. So we're not alone. They be wanting to wait. I said the pounce. What you talking about?
I think that's what they're talking about because look, that's the real issue. So I know for sure they be doing that. And I definitely encourage. I know the easiest way to get this energy out is through sexual activity. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes hone that energy and see what you can create. And I know for like the men, when they do hone and like keep that energy for a little bit, they can appear very like more attractive to women. So
Yes.
yes, because I feel like we sense that shit. We're like, they need to release.
He needs to take a load off. Tim said I be creating all the time.
So it's very, very, very interesting. I don't want to cut you off, but since we're just like talking about that and talking about self pleasure, I do want to take a moment, and we'll get back to your notes, to let women know that the female path and the male path is a little bit different. I have found in spirituality that even spirituality, which is feminine based,
Mm-hmm.
is dominated by a lot of masculine ideologies. So, like we were talking earlier where you're saying like, I felt like I had to do it this exact way. I had to do the ritual. I had to do That's masculine. That's masculine. You got
Mm-hmm.
to do step by step and this and that. And we talked earlier about it being a connection and a relationship with your intuition. So the feminine path is a little bit different than the masculine part. I think like a lot of like I love meditation, I love all of these things, but sometimes we get caught up with we're in this community, we still have, and it's no one's fault, it's just the fact that we haven't delved into the feminine power for so long that a lot of the practices that we have are dominated still with like masculine energies, like sitting down and meditating and stuff like that. But when it comes to why I brought that up is because a lot of times we talk about retention, semen retention, and holding your sexual energy and all of that. And that's great. That's great for men, but that's not for women. And I will die on this hill that that is not for women. That is a male centered practice. I feel like women, the more we pleasure ourselves, the more we're in sexual energy, the more we drip ourselves with sexual energy, the more we're magnetic, not the more we hold it. So, it could be a very unpopular take, but I like to study, I like to research. I've taken a couple feminine studies, and to be honest, a lot of it is like that. That's why like goddess worship and stuff had to do a lot with like pleasure and stuff like that. And for men, it is recommended to hold on to energy, but for women, it is not recommended that we hold on to energy. It's recommended that we discharge it. So it's very interesting when I like go in the classes that they say things to me like that, because I'm like, wait, we have a whole other perspective in the West.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. When I felt like when I was celibate for a very long time, I feel like I got the most attention. I feel like they knew, like as you were saying, like they could sense it. So that's a very interesting take. But I as you were explaining it, I was getting like, I feel like I was getting downloads. Like, yeah, holding that control, that given that, I don't want to say guidance, but leading, right? So I could get that semen retention and then letting go. So then that probably can explain a lot of things for me.
You could be celibate, but if you were like self-pleasuring, taking care of yourself, feeling yourself, like self-love, self-care, you were in your feminine energy.
I
It's
wasn't
not about
I wasn't
yeah,
doing
like
self pleasure.
restricting.
I
Mm,
wasn't doing self pleasure. So
interesting.
that's interesting that you said that.
Mhm, interesting. I want to get back to your notes and we could talk about this a little bit. But I find it very interesting. I have a couple more takes on that. So if anyone has any questions, put it down below or any comments. But we can get back to your notes.
Okay.
Um, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're seeing on Instagram. So even have to turn, let's see what the guy is saying on Instagram. So Dava's saying, nah, I'm an artist, so I have to put a lot of energy into it rather than sex. Even have to turn women away because of self-discipline to focus more on my purpose. I love that. Women are more feminine, which isn't to be tamed. Yes. The alignment of this live, I can relate to the love scientist. I love that. And I love that comment too. Women are femininity, which isn't to be tamed. And that's what I'm saying, where when you go back to like what feminine energy is, and it is supposed to be this wild flow energy, and then masculine is the control, our path as women is to be like fully expressive, fully expressed, a little bit wild, not as tamed as we currently are. We're
Just
not restricted, not as submissive as a lot of people want to, as much as people want to put submissive on the feminine word. I think a lot of problems we have in our society is because we've neglected the feminine energy. We act like others don't do a super important job of like literally teaching the next generation. We act like feminine energy of just like social gatherings or being in presence or being loving is less than being ambitious and like riding the corporate ladder, like we devalue these things. We devalue feminine energy. We devalue things like sharing and community. And that's what's literally wrong with the world.
Divine femininity is also like that soft girl era. Like that's matter of fact, not era. Let me soft girl energy. I feel like going with the flow, right? Not being not being rigid. Just I guess more ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow, and creating and birthing. I think if we could sum it up, I think those would be the words that could be used.
I love that. So let's get back to your notes. Tell me what else you wrote down.
All right, let's see here. We touched on operating with unconditional love. Did we touch on operating with authenticity, unconditional love?
Well, I know because earlier you were writing something down, but if not, I have another question. So I would just say, like, as we're wrapping up the sacral chakra point, how do you harness power of your sacral chakra and your feminine energy in your life?
Mm-hmm. Before I go there, you're right. I did have a note. So, when you asked me earlier about has this always been my journey, I totally forgot that my first T-shirt line was inspired from my mom. My mom used to tell me all the time that pussy ain't free, and I put that on a shirt. And then the amount of people that the backlash that I received, that was funny as hell. It was always a conversation piece. But I said once I did that and because it's not just going out there and then expecting men to take care of you financially. That was not the purpose of my shirt. It was just embodying that feminine energy, knowing that you are, we're going to talk about that black cat, that you are a goddess, and that and that whoever that you entertain or exchange energy with, they should know that as well. And they know how to treat you. And you're treated the way that you deserve to be treated, and vice versa. So that T-shirt line that caused the uproar, but I felt so empowered when I when I released
We
it.
need to bring that T-shirt back. I want to wear this on the show. Like, what are you talking about? We gotta wear this on the show. Big pum pum energy ain't free.
Yes, say that. As far
Yeah.
as my sacral, you said what's my
Yeah, like how do you harness and use the power of your sacral and like your femininity in your life?
Oh, by dancing. I have to go dancing. Every week I have to dance. And I love when it's in public, but it doesn't have to be. It could be I could just crank up the music in my house and just vibe out. And just my favorite part. So also like if we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. I like to look in the mirror. I like to dance naked. Like this is gonna be funny watching this replay. But I like to dance naked in the mirror because I want to see my curves. I want to like you gotta give appreciation for your body. And I love my body. Like and so harnessing, doing that, taking baths, using jasmine oil. Like I use jasmine oil in my hair because it can I'm not gonna be ashamed to say it can seduce men, but that's part of my personality. Like I get a kick out of seduction. And like
I mean, that is a feminine principle. Honestly, we need to do a whole ass class because that is a feminine principle, seduction. Like seduction is not masculine. It's all about like enticing, pulling in, illusion. Those are things that are categorized under feminine, under yin energy, right? Illusion is feminine. That's why social media is feminine.
I didn't know social media is feminine because it's so much creativity on social media.
Yeah, creativity, illusion, creating the content is the masculine part, but the platform itself, it's deep in illusion. Why do you think Instagram, everyone want to look good? They want to post their best outfits. They want to post their face with makeup. It's very coded in femininity. That's why women have made a lot of money utilizing social media because it's feminine.
Oh, I didn't thank God for you. And seriously. So like those are the those are the things I like to do to harness my energy. Even wearing some badass lingerie and just dancing in the mirror. Like I just get a kick out of anything I could do to evoke and just feel sexy as fuck. I'm gonna do that. That's to me. That's harnessing my sacral chakra. And another part, like, because most of it is sexual, most of it's sexual and sensual, but the other part is being creative. Like I could sit here and be so creative, and that fuels me. Even when I hit, like, sometimes even when I hit that post button, I'm like, I wonder how it's gonna like affect the world. How is it gonna impact the world? So those are the little things that I do to harness my. Oh, and then I also mentioned baths. So like even like just sitting in the bath and just taking time to just be present and understand that this is self-love, this is self-care. It's okay to take a pause. It's okay to be in flow. And although I'm busy as hell, I'm enjoying the shit out of this moment.
Slowing down. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Slowing down, when you're slowed down and you start appreciating things, I feel like you're directly in contact with the feminine energy and the force. It's not about doing things quickly. It's not about rushing. It's really about slowing down and appreciation. I like to think of how we think about goddesses and how we worship them, and it's like all about things that we appreciate, things that we value. We bring flowers and honey and these type of things. When it be the male gods, they be sacrificing a goat. Death. Women gods, I don't know if we sacrifice the women goddesses, but I feel like it's more like ritual things and like flowers and like honeys and whatnot. So very interesting. I agree with you. Everything that you've said too. I know you're super big on self-care, so it just makes sense too that you're just like pouring into yourself in that way, and that makes you feel good. The dancing part, oh my god, I resonate so much with you on that. And so earlier I talked about growing up in the Caribbean and just like this dualistic relationship with sexuality. But one thing that we do get right is that sacral chakra, because whining,
yes, the whining.
any culture around the world, and that's something that I've even discussed with Umi. She brought me onto this, even with the astrology behind it. It's crazy, but cultures like belly dancing, whining, any culture where they're like waist belly focused around there, like reproductive,
Yes.
have the women are really big in feminine energy. They're big in sacral. And she was telling me there was some astrology behind it, and like, they even cook with certain spices because it's sacral, right? So certain spices like paprika and just honestly, just pepper in general, those type of spices that are orange, or like turmeric, those type of things. Those are all things that you could use to balance your sacral. And it's funny that in those parts of the world, they cook with a lot of like saffron, a lot of turmeric, a lot of curry, a lot of cayenne. That's what I was looking for. Cayenne pepper. Yes. So it
But
gives
even
that.
fruits, mangoes, papaya,
Yeah. The
peach.
orange, everything, yes, especially with that like deep orange color, and everything like that. So that's yes, our women are highly, we be sexual, but that part of like the whining and releasing, because that really does really energy, and it also helps us like literally the motion, like we see on TikTok these days, girls be twerking and be like, yo, twerking releases energy, but the whining too, it's just really like this coil of like feminine energy. And I really like even just the movement like a snake and everything,
Yeah,
it
it's
just
like,
shows it.
ooh, right? It just looks so freaking good.
And when you think about it, it's like those are things that kind of like helped me connect back to my culture in this way and just be like, yeah, this is sacred practices. Our ancestors knew what they were doing when they were like, and just like whining, right?
And then we started like twerking came after whining. Whining was
Yes,
first.
yes, of course, of course, of course. And like so my friend sent me a video like a couple weeks ago, and this woman, she's a pelvic floor like coach, doctor, and she's showing exercises to tighten your pelvic muscles. And why this woman go on the floor and start whining? But it was a white woman. She was like, "So you want to twist?" My friend says me this, and she's like, "Yo, she's literally whining on the floor. She's lying down on her back, and she's whining." And she's like, "Yeah, when you put it around, like it tightens the pelvic muscle." And my friend was literally like, "You see, our ancestors knew that what they were doing. That's why they always had that good pum pum because the
Yes.
wine strengthens." So that's why I said feminine energy, even though the teachings around femininity have been lost, it's
Mhm.
never been lost in the cultures. It's never been lost like from like daughter to mother. It's there. We just don't talk about it. We just don't have an understanding about it, right? Because it's been hidden, and women didn't have the opportunity to write about these things and to talk about these things and to explore it. And feminine energy, especially feminine teachings, are always more demonized than male centered teachings. So as soon as you hear a goddess who and an Oshun, it's all devil, devil, devil.
Mhm.
Or working with the little herbs or doing a little something under the moon is witchcraft. It's like
Not
everything
only that.
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you
No, I was just saying a lot of things that are inherently feminine are demonized right away. Even just things of like wearing makeup and looking good is demonized. And being like, why y'all doing that? Y'all need attention. Be like it's like an attack on femininity. We have lived through a big attack on femininity because there's such power if we as women start to harness that.
Absolutely. And I remember I threw my first self-love event. I called it the self-love experience. And it was all about tapping into your feminine energy and your goddess energy. I remember, I forgot who it was, but a man said, "Oh, y'all just gonna be fucking." So like it don't get it doesn't get respected. I don't know why. Like why they think that we just out here just being nasty.
Low key, he was trying to be like, "Can I connect to my feminine?"
Exactly. That's exactly what he was trying to do. We got some comments in here. Oh, it's a lot
Yeah.
in here.
I
Um,
love I love when I see just like photos of women just like being under the moon naked, butt naked. I'm like, that's peak feminine energy. To feel safe and feel free to just be butt naked out on the beach under the moonlight. Like that's something on my bucket list. Like that's something on my bucket
I
list.
definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
Go in the water and everything and dance under
Mhm.
the moonlight. What? On the beach?
Yes. Yes. Like
Man.
peak peak like I am the goddess reincarnated. Like, I don't know. It just feels so good. And I feel like with women, that's why I said a lot of our practices is around feeling good. It's
Yes.
around feeling good. Because we hold tension. So there's a lot is that about releasing and moving energy. We're literally channels and buckets for like energy to flow. We transmute so much around us, and we have to have practices that help us let that energy flow through us. We're highly emotional. Emotion is energy, right? Energy and motion. So we need to. That's why when I see women, and I used to be that woman, stuck, rigid,
Mhm.
too
Stush.
close.
Stush.
Yes. Like not stush, but stush has a connotation where you're more like snooty, like you're a
Mhm.
snob. But I wasn't a snob. I was just repressed. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like the energy
Like
was
that
there, but it was exactly was pushed down. It was rigid. It was frozen, and I had to
mm.
warm it up. You know what I mean? I have to warm it up, put some fire on that shit, melt it, and I feel like now I was able to truly, now I'm like, just I can exist in my feminine energy and just know that I'm gonna get whatever I want, like being embodied. Like I don't have to. That's part of being a woman. Like I don't literally have to do what men need to do to get the same results.
Exactly. And then even like it could be so small. Like even when I'm going out, I don't have to lift a
Culture.
I don't have to lift a finger or anything. It's like men just come out the woodworks. I remember I had a cart. Like I'll just have a thought sometimes. I'll be like, I wish somebody could help me. And then I'll be outside, and then all of a sudden I'll bring the cart to the car. I had a man come up to me and said, You need help?" I said, "No, I can do it myself." He said, "No, I'll do it for you." Okay, thanks. And back to the back to the being on the beach part. I want women to try this, but you got to be careful because this is before I knew like be careful with that water because you might disappear. But I was on the beach one night. I don't know if it was a full moon or not, and I used my energy to call in the water. And if you, I don't know, Sherise, have you ever done that? Have you ever done that? You should definitely do that. I felt so powerful because the water moves. It will move with your energy, and you could really control that. So like, there's so many different ways to tap into to that big pom pom energy, and once you know it and you feel it and you embody it, it's just like, yeah, I'm fuckwittable. I'm fuckwittable. I, you muted, boo.
Yeah, I did want to read. Thank you. I did want to read some of the things that we had on Instagram. Hey, sir, Rasha Anali. I don't want to mess up your name, Rasha Anali. So we had Dove saying, "Here's a gem. Womb can stand for where our minds begin. WOM. I love that. Womb, where our minds begin. So everything we are as men,
That's good.
um, everything we are as men reflect everything feminine." Oh, I like that. So, womb, where our minds begin. So, everything we are as men reflect everything feminine, darkness. Everything about these false foundations of the, everything about these false foundations of these corrupted patriarchy reflects a distorted matriarchy. I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's good.
so I guess the essence of that was just, I think that was to in reply of what I was saying, that a lot of the teachings that we have about femininity can, or just like spirituality in general, can still come from a distorted patriarchy way, so that we see some of these practices not in its feminine essence. Um I think this one is a reply to you saying like, "Pum pum not free." It says it's better not be free. Y'all create all the foundation and empires.
Say
Uh, yes. So let's get into. I feel like we're gonna have to, part of the conversation. We're gonna have to continue with it next week. But I love how we flowed and we just went into this. But something as a woman and divine, when you're in your like divine feminine era, a big thing is about protecting your energy
yes.
uh, and working with energy. So understanding everything is energy, which I feel, that's why I feel like the feminine is so fucking powerful, because everything is energy. Even the matter that you see is vibrating is energy. Even the man comes from a woman's womb. Everything is energy, mostly like everything's feminine. But a big part of understanding energy and being able to manipulate energy and harness energy is knowing as well how to protect your energy. So, how do you protect your energy? What does that look like?
Oh, protecting my energy is definitely meditating. I meditate so I have a level head before I go out in this world and start cursing people the fuck out. So yeah, That's protecting my energy. Another way that I protect my energy is while I'm meditating, um, while I'm meditating, that I envision that I'm in a bubble and I'm radiating a golden white light. Like sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's white, and I picture myself in that bubble so that nothing from the outside could enter my energy. And
Mm-hmm.
another way is praying before I go outside. That's before I go into the world. Make sure I pray that gratitude, spending time with the divine. I feel like all that it, is me protecting my energy, and also knowing when to let people go, let toxic situations go, making sure that making sure that I'm at peace at all times. If I feel anxious, if I don't feel at peace, then something's wrong. And just like again, tuning into that intuition and knowing when you're off balance and how can you ground yourself and get back on track. Um, Another way, talking to my squad on the other side for sure. um I think the more I acknowledge them, the more they make themselves more apparent. And I can't see some of those dark forces, so I got to make sure that I'm good within my temple, and protect my energy at all times before I interact with people, knowing when to pull my energy back. Because I'm the type of person, like when you gonna know when I pull my energy back. Like it's not, you're not gonna get the same person, the same bubbly personality. You're not getting that. You getting some dry. I'm gonna be dry. I'm like you I don't like you. You'll know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fake that. I get, and that goes into the authenticity part. Like I can't fake the funk. I'm a sharpshooter. So those are the ways I protect my energy. How do you protect your energy?
So something similar to you, I definitely just envision, use my energy, use my imagination. Boundaries. If we're
Yes.
talking about something a little bit more masculine, boundaries, making sure that they know when I really need to say no. And then other just spiritual practices to clear my energy, making sure that I clear my energy, make sure when I feel stagnant that I'm working with my energy and releasing it. Like I said, those are ways that I still protect my energy too, is by releasing as much as I can within me and making sure that I'm not hoarding negativity. Sometimes you gotta protect your energy from your own self. So that's what I'd be doing. Like, sometimes I'd be down or like hoarding like negative energy and stuff like that. So I tried to release it. But like you said, just envisioning that protective force around me, praying, setting the intentions, doing the saging. And I feel like my space is very protected. So when I'm home, I feel very much like in my protected energy. Um, I feel like, yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Just really being in line with my spirit and discerning. Like discerning helps me protect my energy
Yes.
because I can utilize that, and connecting more with my intuition helps me protect my energy as well. Because if I can discern and intuit like, oh, this is not for me, then now I can just create that boundary, pull myself back, and not have to go through that, right? So those are some ways that I would say I definitely protect my energy. I just try to, as much as possible, be in alignment with my spirit and discern as much as possible. Okay, so we're gonna close up soon. This was a great conversation, but I wanted us to, for the people, like talk about a couple more things before we leave. And one of them was dark feminine energy because that's like a trending word that we see everywhere on TikTok. Like all the girls be wanting to be dark feminine. Nobody wants to be light feminine no more. So
Nope.
can you talk to us about dark feminine energy? What is dark feminine energy for you? I love like on TikTok too, there's the trend of like black cat versus like black cat versus like light cat, or black cat versus like golden
Yeah.
retriever, that type of vibe. So yeah, what does being in dark feminine energy mean to you? Is it something that's scary? Is it whatever? So I just want to know what that means.
Dark feminine energy to me is standing on business and not feeling guilty about it. Saying I said what I said and being authentic. So if I don't if I know that me and you not gonna be a vibe, or we it's not gonna work as a friendship, I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna let you
Mm.
know. Even in the dating realm, like if I'm not interested, you gonna know. I As far as that, so that black cat energy is definitely is symbolic of the dark feminine, and here's why. The black cat is not gonna it there's just certain things that the black cat does, so the dark feminine does, that you don't expect anything less of. So a black cat is not in that divine masculine energy. Men are the hunters, men are the pursuers. That to me, dark and feminine is operating out of that space, knowing who you are, and knowing, like, if you want, like, I know there's gonna be people that don't agree with me, and that's fine. But I don't believe in I love to be courted. I'm not gonna go out there and hit on a man. I've done it. I don't like how it feels, and I'm not. It's just not. It's not me. I don't want that for myself. And knowing what you want, um, because if you don't know what you want, you can't stand on business. How you gonna stand on business if you don't know what you want? So identifying that, and that I I would go back to, because to me, divine feminine and divine dark femininity, they go kind of hand in hand, because yes, one is more like of the light, and then one operates more out of the dark. So like I would say a woman, nah, I don't want to say that. I would say not playing about you. That's just dark feminine energy. Not playing about how people treat you, what people say about you, not giving a fuck about that. Not caring about external validation at all. Because you can't be your authentic self if you give a fuck about what people are talking about, especially when it comes to you and you know who you are as a person. So there's that dark feminine could go in so many different ways, but to sum it up, black cat, knowing that I'm her, knowing that, and like, because men know what they when men love or like a woman, they know what to do. They know exactly what to do. They're gonna make sure they get her attention. They're gonna make sure they treat her, the ideal man is gonna make sure he treats her right, respects her, um, makes her feel safe, make sure that make sure that she's embodying her feminine energy and she's in her soft girl energy. Like, I feel like the divine masculine automatically knows that. Like, you doing too much, baby. Like, come on, chill, relax. I got this. Like, you ain't gotta worry. Like, I feel like they know that. So dark feminine energy is, again, that badass, that goddess energy, that and not all that love and light shit, but like, yeah, dark feminine energy is like, yeah, I will fuck the shit out of him. And he's gonna know I would fuck the shit out of him, because I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna fuck the shit out of him. Like, I feel like it's more like talking that talk, and just being, and not and knowing, having that power.
Do you feel like it's important? Is it better to be one version or the other, like dark feminine, light feminine? How do we navigate that as defined feminine beings?
Right now, I'm operating more in my dark feminine. I know that. Um, I think I think you'll know when you supposed to operate in your dark feminine energy versus, and then as I do more research, Um, my Venus is in Scorpio. So I like looked at, like, that's another thing, ladies. Look at what your Venus sign is, because I feel like that has helped me tap more into my dark feminine energy as well. Like I'm supposed to be wearing, I'm on into materials like silk, satin, lace. I'm supposed to be like kind of like a goth, like have a gothy type of style. Like the chokers, I've been like embodying those a little bit more. The plum lipstick. Um so I don't think you I think I do think, of course, everything's balance, everything's duality. Sometimes I just want to play with my dark feminine energy a little bit more, especially now, because I'm seeing how certain people are operating, and I'm like, there's so many there's so many people that's not operating in their authentic selves, that yeah, I wanna ruffle some feathers. I want to turn this shit up a notch.
Mm. Ooh, we have another Venus and Scorpio in the building. We're about a lot of Venus and Scorpio babies up in here. So same thing as you, Venus and Scorpio. So I definitely feel like I have navigated and been in dark, like my dark feminine mostly. Actually, the journey was embracing light femininity for me, like being more nurturing and caring and those type of things. But y'all know I like to explain things just to give a basis and then get into my answers. But to me, dark femininity, the best concept that I can have to just explain it is understanding that, like we said earlier, that the feminine is the birthplace of everything, and to be born is to die. Okay, and the feminine rules both over birth and death, birth and destruction, creation, destruction, birth, death, that whole entire cycle. Because it's yoni, right? The yoni, when you're born, you're signing a contract to die,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it rules that, and we can see that in astrology too. So it rules the birth and rebirth cycle and the creation and destruction. So when we talk about femininity being on love and light, we're not really seeing it in its true sense because it rules destruction, right? Mother Nature. Can you control Mother Nature? when she when she whips up a storm, we are at the mercy, right? We are at the mercy. And destruction sometimes is important for creation. Sometimes you need to just break something down so you can create something better.
Yes.
That is all ruled by the feminine aspect. And as in women, what I'm seeing now, why the dark feminine is being embraced more, is because a lot of women, especially in the past, have been suppressed, have been
Yes.
oppressed. So they need to tap into that dark feminine energy to literally destroy some of the things that have been in place that have been holding women back. Whether it just be like, women need to be meek and not speak too boldly. You got to like destroy that within yourself to now invoke and be confident, be a goddess, be really you. So that's why I'm seeing like a rise in the dark feminine energy. Another thing too with the dark feminine energy, why I think like it's really important, especially in this time, is that women needed to also understand like the destruction phase, right? Dark feminine, like you were saying, being in that badass, being seductive, being courted. Part of destruction is like, I see feminine energy like nature, right? Nature don't be fake. Nature is survival of the fittest.
Yes.
Nature
Yes.
is survival of the fittest. Okay. So when you're in that energy, it's about purifying. It's about, listen, if that man is not what you want, if he's not doing the thing, it's about destruction of that. Like destroy, like break down that relationship right away. Bye bye. Like it's
Mhm.
also about the art of rejection, which is something that is feminine. It's like knowing when to say no, like you're not what I want. You're not what like you're not for me. You're not what I'm attracting. I don't believe you're worthy of this energy. You're not showing up in consistent way. You're not applying pressure. You're not doing this, and knowing that you don't have to be a good girl, and because he's a nice guy or everyone tells you need to be with him, that you need to be with him. No, you could stand on business, like you said, and just be like, this is not for me, right? The
Mhm.
no. So there's a lot. I think we're embodying more the dark energy right now, the dark feminine, like I said, to just be able to destroy so many things that have kept us in the past, and also to just, yeah, to be fucking on the like unapologetic, which is something that I associate with the dark feminine aspect. It's like unapologetic, fierce, seductive. It's creation too, but a lot of times through destruction. If you play with her, she'll fuck you up. She'll destroy you. Like, don't play with that. Even seduction, like seducing, can be dangerous, right? It can be that's part of the element of it, right? The spice,
Mhm.
the danger, and that is all part, like, I feel like, of the dark feminine. When it comes to which one you should embody, I love your answer that, like, you'll feel called which one you need to embody based on where you are on the spectrum and
Mhm.
based on your divine duty as a woman right now. I feel like it's intuitive. You just kind of know. You just know. Um, so I do agree with you. I wanted to get some keywords just for people who are still just like, what is light feminine? What is dark feminine? Some of the keywords that I found that I liked was light feminine was like patience, elegance, forgiveness, nurturing, innocence, peace. Like all of the things that we kind of associate with the natural femininity, or the femininity that we've been introduced to so far. And then we have dark feminine, we have authentic, fearless, passionate, confident, wild, free, power, seductive. So, and every woman has that within them. And we know that like society has tried to separate women from those things. It's like you could either be like the Madonna horror complex, right? You could either be a mom or you can be the harlot. You can either be nurturing and feminine or you're a whore. There's
Yeah.
like no in between, and that's just a very dualistic and again like masculine way because they like to categorize things, right? Things need to be black or white. Feminine is about flow, a very masculine way of seeing the feminine principle, and we can be, again, we're whole. We can be the whole entire spectrum. We can be lady in the sheets, freak in the sheets. We can be nurturing. We could be moms, and we could still be wild. We could still be unapologetic. We could still be
Mhm.
fierce.
We
We
could be
can,
those.
yes. We could choose not to be moms and still be feminine,
Mhm.
right? So all of this is accessible to all of us. And I feel like as women, it's like being divine feminine is understanding that all of these options are yours for the choosing and not letting anyone impose upon you what they feel like you need to be, how you need to be, how you need to be as a mom, how
Mhm.
you need to be as this, how you need to be as a woman in society past a
Like,
certain age.
those
Like all
labels.
of those things, yeah, all of those labels, because those labels will inherently, like, since we're such receptive beings, it's like a stamp. And once we put that stamp on our energy, it's hard for us not to flow out of that. We now
Yeah.
start to embody that shit. So we need to be careful what labels and stamps we're putting on ourselves because we're very receptive and we'll start materializing that shit. So um, what is your what would be your advice to women who, want to become more feminine? Even women who be like, yo, I've just been so masculine. We didn't talk about that, but I'm
Mm.
like, a lot in my masculine energy. I want to become more feminine. Or just women who want to embody more of that fiery feminine, that dark feminine, or just that goddess energy in general. What type of advice would you have for them?
I would say play with your sacral energy. Like,
I
do
thought
the
you were gonna say play with yourself.
mind you, I'm doing this. Do that too though. Play with yourself. You got to know what you like. You can't first off, yeah, there's so many things. First off, you can't how can you have sex if you don't even know what you like? If you don't even know how you want him to hit it, how you want Yo, I came across some I came across something so wild on Twitter X. But there was this man that was like showing women how to like how to squirt proper, like how they be able to squirt, do all that good stuff, right? Walking them through that sexually. And I just was amazed because all this time you think you was getting that BDE. And I'm looking at this man like work the middle. And I'm like, whoa, that's so I feel like if you don't even know what you like, you won't even know that there's so many different levels to this sexual energy and being fulfilled and satisfied. Because even I found myself like sometimes I have sex, but I wouldn't be fulfilled. They would get they rocks off, but I wouldn't. And then that's not me operating in my dark feminine energy. That's not that. And so the advice I would give is that's discovery is key. Eat those certain fruits or foods associated with that sacral energy, because that's gonna put like a little oomph in it, right? It's gonna get you started doing that pleasure, focusing on that. Even like taking coconut oil and playing around. I don't want, I guess, be descriptive, but playing around with yourself and being comfortable with that so that you can explain that to whoever you're messing with or whoever you're dealing with or whoever you're with. um and because there's so many things that come from that, like if you're frustrated sexually, you might cheat on your significant other. You just might hate them after a while, like, man, I'm done with this. So like those conversations are important, also knowing what you like. Them hip, like working that middle, like even yoga, focusing on that, bringing out that sacral energy through yoga poses, that's key.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much dancing. Um what is it? What is that when you do this with your
Kegels.
huh? There we
Kegels.
go. Kegels, yes. Doing Kegels. Like whenever you get it, because that's just gonna build your that's gonna build that energy up too. And creating, well, you said creating is more masculine, right? So like,
Oh no, creating is fully feminine.
oh,
No.
okay. So
No.
creating and embodying that creativity and letting it out, that birth, that release, play around with that too. I feel like those are all, there's so many different ways that you could play around your sacral energy, but just make sure that you're not just focusing on sacral and you're forgetting about the other chakras. Because I think that we get into this obsessive, we like this information, and we're gonna digest this, we're gonna practice this, but then if you're gonna do it. And also there's also levels to it, and knowing that you got to be balanced on all chakra levels.
I love that. And you're so right. I definitely got obsessed with the sacral, but it's because like for me, I felt like it was so unbalanced. So I got like obsessed with it. That's why like that's where a lot of my knowledge around the sacral comes from, because I was so big on just like feeling free. Like honestly, when you feel stuck and frozen for so long, you like a part of you just like knows that this is unnatural and just like wanting to be free, right? And I love how real, like you were talking about, just like the coconut oil and everything. Like, I love that because, you know, on this journey, like, same thing as me. Part of it was just like me not knowing myself and all of that. But I feel like the more that I delve into sacral chakra work and just energy work and feminine energy, I tell people this all the time. I tell women this all the time, not people, because I feel like women will, yeah, I don't want y'all to feel like I'm just randomly telling people this, but like it'll literally make you more juicier, more wetter, more open to pleasure, because the sacral chakra in general is also a pleasure center. And when you find yourself feeling frozen or rigid, or just like you said, sometimes you're not even really enjoying sex, but you're just kind of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. You're
Mhm.
not operating in that space. Like you are supposed to feel pleasure as well. And when you something as simple as sex where you're not receiving pleasure or you're not self-pleasuring, that trickles out into how well you're able to experience pleasure in other things, whether it be like savoring food, say like sensual. Because if it's something as basic as sex, like a basic need as sex, and like savoring food and stuff you can't do, where are you really finding pleasure, right? And that's why we turn to all of these other things that we don't even really need, but it's because we need this heightened version of pleasure, this
Mhm.
extra, because we can't even just access it in the small things. Um, definitely I agree with like your messaging. Like it is true that like doing these things, looking at yourself in the mirror, like not being ashamed of your sexuality, not being ashamed of your reproductive parts and of your yoni, like all of those things is helping you reprogram yourself from the shame you feel around your sexuality, which is something that holds the divine feminine down. As much as as long as we continue to feel shame around the fact that we're like women, we have some titties, we
Yeah.
have voluptuous curves,
Hey.
we entice, we inspire. That's such a big feminine principle. We inspire action, right? The
Mhm.
masculine, like all of those things, as long as we keep shame around that, shame even around pleasure. Like, why men get to feel all the pleasure, but we can't feel pleasure?
Exactly.
That doesn't
That's
make sense. It
that's
doesn't make sense. Exactly. So us reclaiming that is what's going to like move us forward. Like reclaiming the fact that we get to move our bodies, reclaiming the fact that we get to feel pleasure, all of these things, reclaiming the fact that we like our community, our spaces where people are like, oh, these are women things, oh, women this, or okay, and we like it. So what, right? We need it. We need our girl time. We need our sacred girl time. We need our mimosas. We need all of these things, and not demonizing girly or women or feminine things. And as a woman, I think it's so important because if you're a woman demonizing or just like invalidating feminine things and feminine spaces and like girly things, I feel like you're part of the problem. Like we
Mhm.
need these things and there's nothing wrong with it. And I guess my example, my advice, like I love that you brought up like yoga and everything like that. So I just want to give some more practical tips as well to harness your sacral chakra energy. I love that you said yoga, anything that's like hip widening, like the poses where you open really widely your legs. Try it also in sex. It
Yeah.
helps,
Bust
right?
it wide open.
Rewind the chakras.
Bust it
Uh,
wide open.
but yeah, so I took some, I had some notes. So like, yeah, the hip opening poses, the cow, all of those, anything that has movement to the spine, like the hula hoop or the belly dancing, or we
Mhm.
just said like putting on music and whining, and all of those things definitely help you move that energy and feel more sensual. Drinking lots of water and staying freaking hydrated is so
I
important.
was gonna say pineapples, but pineapples are yellow. But
But
pineapples
still,
usually
it could still, yeah, it's still very much. I like to say like yellow, orangey foods,
hmm.
orangey red. Yellow could fall into there as well. Like you said, mangoes. Some of them can be red, some of them can be orange. So, mangoes, eating those juicy foods, like honestly, that really helped me. I won't lie. Like I was putting intention, like I'm healing my sacral. I was eating my mangoes, like you said, papayas. I was purposely cooking with cayenne. I was like, oh, we about to get spicy tonight. Putting that cayenne in there. Like as a woman, I feel like it's fun. You get to play. You get to put you're the magic. You get to
Yeah.
put your magic in these things. The cayenne, the this, and it does. It works. But people don't get it. It's like think it's the thing. You're the thing. You're the magic. And that those things work well. I like essential oils. You can use orange. Anything that has like orange. I wanted to wear orange today, but I think I wore orange last time, so I was like, damn, I had to. But even wearing the color orange,
Mm.
wearing the color orange, Wear a nice deep, yes, wear a nice deep orange, especially as a black woman on our skin, and tell me you just don't feel like you glow, like you don't feel sexy, like you don't feel mad attractive, like it's beautiful. So like wearing those colors, intuitive movement, moving meditation. There is crystals. You guys can look that up.
Oh yeah.
And also working with your emotions because again, sacral is very a lot of emotions are uh, um a lot of emotions can be stored there, and shame is one of the worst emotions for the sacral. So a lot of releasing shame. Like I'm a big Scorpio placement, and you said Scorpio Venus. So there's a lot there where we have to unlearn certain shames, where we have to navigate certain darknesses, certain shames, and on learning information, learning your emotion, being emotionally intelligent. All of these things will help you be more divine feminine and harnessing your power. Like if you can harness the power of your emotions, learn how to flow, learn how to cry, learn how to let it loose, learn how to amplify it, like you will be in your tip top power as a woman, 100 fucking percent. um Okay, I'm seeing we're already at 2 hours. God diggity damn. We
Always.
had we had so much more to talk about, but you know what? I think we flowed. I think we were in the energy. So we were really in that divine feminine energy and we went where the conversation needed to go. Everybody on Instagram, everyone here was flowing with the conversation. So I know what it did. It did what it needed to do. The goddess was literally in the presence today.
Yeah.
We could pick it up next week. So we're coming back next week, y'all, for our last session. If y'all want more, y'all need to hit me up and tell me to bring back the love sciences. If y'all want it, okay? Because I only booked her for a first session. So if y'all want more, y'all need to bother her and bother me. Okay. But we could pick it up. We could pick it up next week. We're gonna be talking about impact over recognition, just about, building your brand as a spiritual worker and following our purpose, building in public, our money mindset, investing in ourselves and everything like that. And we actually didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about the female friendship aspect. So I think yeah, we had a lot, but honestly, like I said, there is not a lot of this out there. So just us even delving deeply into the feminine principle like we did tonight, I think was so amazing because there's just a wealth of information here. And like I said, we don't talk about the feminine as much as you could find 50,000 sermons on God as a male being or about Jesus, but you won't hear about things feminine based. So even us sitting here today taking 2 hours, right, to talk about the feminine principle is healing that feminine energy, I feel like, in the collective. So thank you, beautiful.
No, job well done. We did that. We did that.
So, like I said, next week we're back for our last one. We want all of y'all here. We want all of the questions. We want all the Q&As. Oh, I see people clapping. If y'all enjoyed, put some love in the chat. Put some hearts. Let Instagram know. Let the algorithms know that y'all love us. Put some comments down below. We'll talk about next week money as energy. Talk more about energetics, like I said, building a brand as a spiritual worker. We'll tap into the female friendships, or maybe we might have to come back for a fifth episode. We'll see. But I really, really loved this conversation. I think we went everywhere. There's just so much more that I could say about this. So I don't know. Maybe we might come back. We'll see. We'll tap into the intuition and see what we can create. But Keisha, thank you so much for coming on here, always being so divine, like showing up so real. Like I bounce off your energy a lot, and you're just like so, like you're just. It's I don't have a word. It's vibrant. Like you're in color. That's what I like to see. Like yeah, like move through the world in color. Like, I could easily point you out in a crowd. Like you're just vibrant. And I really feel like that's because you're in that feminine energy. Like you own yourself, you're in your authenticity, you don't give a fuck what people say. Like I love that. And I feel like that's why you show up like that. Like you don't care. Like you have been one of my guests who has been the most like just blatantly just say shit like you like take the coconut oil.
I wanted to say more like take them fingers and jam them shits in.
Make sure you touch this spot, like, but I love it. Like, you're very real, you're very authentic, you go there, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and thank you for having this, like, this very sensitive subject, like sensitive topic with me, and navigating with me, and not feeling weirded out by like the things that we went in today. I feel like it's so beautiful to see that, to see a woman who just fully owns herself. And I think we all should aspire to that.
Thank you, goddess. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Cause sometimes, and it's kind of weird because I'm like, it's too much. When you as guest on someone else's show, you're like, is this too much? Blah blah blah. But thank you for embracing me. Even when you stopped it and said, "Kiss, you better curse." You know you want to.
Yeah, yeah. No restriction over here. No restriction over here. I love it. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank y'all for joining our Divine Feminine Discussion episode 3. If y'all like that, please hit. Oh my God, I love it. You're always showing off with your hearts, but do it again. Make sure to hit that like button, y'all. Subscribe, like, comment, share, do the whole do. Like, we are trying to create a wave. We're trying to create an impact here. If y'all like this type of discussions, if y'all want more conversations with some of your favorite healers, light workers, spiritual leaders in the industry, y'all know I'm always trying to bring them on here to have insightful conversations and to help us just empower one another with all of the knowledge and all the research that we be doing in our computers. I want us to share it. I want us to talk about it. I want us to have better understandings of these things so that we can master it when we enter into this new world. So thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. And like I said, just subscribe, like, do. And we will see y'all next week. Same time. Bye, y'all.
You're so healing. Thank you, boo.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye.